Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Felix here from Shopify Masters Podcast and Podcasting Secrets. And today I want to talk about why hesitation is the killer of your goals, killers of your dreams, killers of you starting your podcast if you want to start one. So, whenever I start anything new, whenever I want to start a project, start a new business, start a podcast, I am very methodical. I sit down, I plan it all out. I take steps. I take slow steps. Take slow progress. What's up, Brandon? Thanks for watching. I take slow steps, and I like being in my lab. Right, I like going to my lab, working, tinkering quietly. I don't want anyone else in the world to know. I want to focus on building this thing quietly and then coming out with a bang. And I like taking my slow time, slow progress, and plan it all out and think to myself, every single step that someone tells me to take, I start thinking to myself, like, is this the right step? Does this make sense for me? And very methodical and logical about it. And to me, that makes a lot of sense, right? It makes a lot of sense to play it safely, take one step at a time. Each step needs to make sense for me mentally before I take that leap and take each step. And now I'm realizing that is the wrong way to do it. I realize that that's what's held me back for so long. And I started looking at other avenues of my life where I do this differently. So there's this idea of being coachable and why it's so important to be coachable. And I'm trying to understand, like, what does it mean to be coachable? I think for me and for a lot of people out there is that we're scared, right? We're scared of taking the wrong step. We're scared of making a misstep. For me, I trust my intuition. I trust in myself. I'm such a logical person, which is a pro and a con, right? I'm so logical that I don't take things on faith. I have to fully understand why it makes sense before I take that step that someone that's more successful than me, whether it be a coach or someone that I'm watching that has success, before I take their advice, I have to almost internalize it first and fully understand it before I decide to take that step. And I thought that was the right thing to do, but I realize now that it's actually just a fear, like a tactic that I take to add friction into my path towards success in order so that I don't expose myself to be too vulnerable during this process. So, I take a lot of my lessons from the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu mats where I have been training for the past 5 to 6 years now. And the reason why I'm so much more successful there and making so much progress with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and martial arts is because I am much more coachable. I don't spend the time whenever my coach, who has 25, 30 years of experience, when he tells me to do something, I do it. I don't ask myself, or I don't try to walk through it in my head, like, why was what he's saying making sense, or I don't question his experience. I don't question his motivation for telling me what to do, right? And by doing that, I create a lot of momentum. I create a lot of speed for me to kind of power through this all these obstacles that are in my way. And by powering through the obstacles is how I grow, how I learn, and how I can become more successful. I think it's the same thing when you're trying to start a business or start a podcast. You cannot stop every single time and ask yourself, is this the right thing to do or not? You cannot stop to ask yourself, what is the motivation behind why someone's asking me to do something? I think you gotta go full bore, full ahead, throttle, pedal to the metal, and just move forward and be coachable. So that's what I learned. I learned that I was creating so much friction. I was spending so much time thinking if this is the right step, is this the right step or not, that it slowed me down so much to a crawl where I then got frustrated that I wasn't making any progress and I would abandon the project or abandon the business. Now I realize, like, I gotta go 100%, man. If I crash and burn, I crash and burn. But at least I didn't slowly burn myself out, slowly kill my own motivation. Instead, I'm going to full blast, 100% trusting the coaches and telling me what to do. I'm going to go in with no hesitations. And that's the plan moving forward, is I got to stop hesitating. I used to think hesitation and thinking about things logically was the best way, it was a smart way to be an entrepreneur. Now I realize, even today I hear from successful entrepreneurs on my Shopify Masters podcast where they'll say the same things, which is that the reason why they were successful was that they did not pause to logically think about success. They did not pause to logically think about entrepreneurship, because if they knew what was involved, they would have bailed a long time ago. And that's the same thing. To a certain extent, we are entrepreneurs. We are all trying to start a podcast because we're ambitious, but you have to be ambitious combined with almost like blindness, like going into it blind. You're not taking the time to pause and think about it logically. So it sounds weird, right? I'm telling you guys not to be so logical about this. I think once you choose a coach, choose a mentor, choose a path. If you're starting a podcast, if you're choosing to follow me, you just got to go into it full blast. No hesitation, just go fully into it and see what happens, right? What's the worst that could happen? I know the worst that can happen if you pause a lot and try to think about this logically each and every single step when you're trying to launch your podcast. It's what's held me back for a long time. And I'm no longer going to follow that path. I'm going to go into a full blast, 100% speed whenever I am. I'm right now enrolled in a coaching program that's helping me launch my course-based business. And I'm not pausing to think about, oh, should I make this small tweak based on what he said? Should I not do this little thing that he asked me to do because it doesn't make 100% make sense to me right now? Should I add this new thing into his steps because I think it makes sense to add? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to follow the exact steps, not add any more, not take away anything else, not change anything else. And unless he tells me to, I'm going to go into it like a puppet and go 100% into it because I trust and I've already committed myself to the methods that he's teaching me. I've committed myself to him. I'm going to go into it again, pedal to metal, 100%, 100 miles per hour, and have faith in myself. That's a big transformation. Was that I have more faith in myself. Actually, two things. One is that I now have to believe that I don't know everything, right? By having this arrogance that you know everything is what causes you, I think, to make the tweaks, make the changes, or decide to do things differently than what your coach says. And the second thing is that I now have faith in myself that if I go 100% into it and I crash and burn, who cares? I crashed and burn, and that is the name of the game, that I can pick myself back up and try again. So hopefully it helps you out if you're thinking about starting your podcast. Pick a path to follow what I'm teaching, follow what anyone else that you want to learn teaching you to do, and don't hesitate. Don't take the time to pause and ask yourself, is this the right thing to do or not? Because honestly, what is the worst thing that can happen if you follow their advice? It's not like they're going to, you're not going to die from it, right? You're just going to follow the advice 100%. That's the quickest way to learn. And by stumbling and falling along the way as you're going 100 miles per hour, that's how you learn. And just trust the process and trust the person you learn the process from so you can go 100% into it. So hopefully it helps you out.